63 million years ago, a world in upheaval. The age of the ruling dinosaurs was over. But a new dawn was to reveal new pretenders to the predator's throne, the mammals. Some tree-living hunters, rather like today's pine marten, were proving to be surprisingly successful. From this basic body plan, all our modern carnivores evolved. The cats came to ground and made killing their art. And with the cats came their relatives, the dogs. The first dogs were small and timid. In that distant time, it was cats who chased dogs. But across the course of history, the dogs have found a way to turn the tables on the cats. In time, they were to become the most widespread hunters on Earth. This is the story of the second great dynasty of predators after the cats, the dogs. And how they arrived at their ultimate incarnation, the wolf, a mere few centuries ago the most successful hunter on the globe. To discover how the dogs became top predators rivaling the cats, we must go back in time, 40 million years. Our story begins where their story begins, in ancient North America. It was a time when the continent was cloaked in lush jungle. In the canopy of these primeval forests lived the ancestor of today's wolves, coyotes, and foxes. But it was to come down out of the trees. The dawn dog was the first true dog. Strong, supple legs for climbing became longer and more rigid. The legs of a long-distance runner. They were to be the hallmark of the dog family, designed to carry them more quickly and efficiently across the ground. Today, the American gray fox looks and lives much like the dawn dog, its own first ancestor. The most ancient of living dogs, the gray fox must wander far and wide to find enough small prey to live on. Like the dawn dog, the gray fox can't afford to be too choosy. And like their ancestors, gray foxes will occasionally venture back up into the trees in search of a meal. But legs evolved for walking are not good for climbing. The grey fox can climb better than any other dog, but it's still no expert. Unlike the dogs, when the first cats came down from the trees, they kept their skills as climbers. The cats waited in ambush for larger meals, climbing on their prey as they would climb in a tree to deliver a killing bite. The dogs, by contrast, had stiff legs and a marathon runner's physique. They simply weren't built to wrestle large prey. The dogs left the cats to their killing trade. Though still confined to North America, the dogs flourished. Versatility was their secret weapon. Small dogs evolved to take small prey. Today's raccoon dog is surprisingly similar. A small but versatile hunter of everything from frogs and fish to birds and berries. Larger dogs with powerful jaws evolved to scavenge the cat's leftovers. And even a few dynasties of fierce dogs like this evolved. Theirs was the dog's first attempt to challenge the cats as killers of large prey, but they failed. Those ancient creatures are of course extinct, but in the remoter parts of South America, strange dogs survive that remind us what they were like. The bush dog is a rare forest dweller. Short legs carry it through the dense jungle. And at the other extreme, the maned wolf is a dog on stilts, its long legs adapted to carry it across tall grasslands. Long legs not only make for efficient walking, they also give the maned wolf a surprising turn of speed. And it was speed and endurance that would ultimately be a vital factor when the dogs overtook the big cats. Their varied diet made the dogs opportunists, whilst their legs were adapted for a wandering life. These were the skills the dogs needed to spread across the globe. So they left their tropical homelands and ventured north through the ancient pine forests, up to the cold wastes where North America then joined Eurasia. The first dogs crossed the Bering Land Bridge into what is today Russia. Europe and Asia was to be their land of opportunity. Their adaptability allowed them to conquer barren lands where, with no large prey available, a big cat could not hope to survive. The early dogs lived on their wits, eking out a living on whatever they could find. The Arctic fox is a descendant of dogs who ventured far to the north. It is a specialist in the cold. Small ears and thick fur, which extends even to the soles of its feet. Using its tail as a stole, this fox will not even shiver until the temperature reaches minus 50 degrees centigrade. Other colonizers found deserts and made them their home. The fennec fox hunts its prey in the cool of the early morning. This tiny fox may weigh less than a kilo, so even a small viper becomes a formidable adversary. It gives up. Small killers must perforce find small prey. While the Arctic fox has small ears to keep warmth in, the fennec fox has huge ears to lose heat. They also allow the fennec fox to home in on its prey. It gets all the water it needs from such titbits and escapes the heat of midday in its burrow. Large ears also warn of danger. In Africa lives another member of the dog family which owes its name to its extravagant ears. The bat-eared fox is the descendant of dogs which ventured far to the south. It has taken the dog's taste for small prey to an extreme and feeds on termites. Like its early ancestors, even a small gazelle is way out of its league. But it's in their family life that bat-eared foxes show a velvet side to their claw, a gentle weapon that the dogs would ultimately forge to challenge the cats. For a mother bat-eared fox, it's hard getting by on so many small meals. Hyperactive pups are always hungry. She must conserve her energy to produce the milk they need to grow. So the male, rather than deserting his partner as a typical cat would, stays around to look after the pups. The female won't often play with the pups. While their mother takes a much-needed rest, it's the father's job to keep them amused. And when danger threatens, the male will risk his life to guard his family. So staying as a family, small though it was, first showed the advantage of strength in numbers. It was probably in similar circumstances that the dogs made their first move to a pack life. The cats, too, had come a long way since their beginnings. Even more heavily armed cats had evolved. Saber-tooths. They still ambushed and wrestled their prey. Then, as now, their teeth reflected their diet. The cats had large killing teeth, and at the back of their mouth, scissor-like shears for cutting prime meat from their large kills. The dog's teeth reflected their own lifestyle, smaller, less effective killing fangs, and a battery of grinding teeth to deal with their wide diet of coarser foods like small bones, insects, and fruit. Their teeth remained like this until their appetites became less modest. No early dog was as well armed as the cats. The dog's legs could not wrestle prey. The dog's teeth weren't designed to deliver a single killing bite. If the dogs tried to be ambushers like the cats, they were rather less likely to succeed. A lone dog must be cautious. On its own, Even a dog as large as this coyote is no great force to be reckoned with. What any dog needs is help. A coyote and an American badger may go around together for months. But a badger is not a dog. With its short legs, it can't easily keep up. It's a bizarre partnership, but it works. The team is formed so that together they can hunt ground squirrels. While one digs at the burrow's entrance, the other digs at its exit. Together, they flush the prey right into each other's jaws. But it's the luck of the drawer who gets to eat it. This partnership works well enough for dealing with ground squirrels, but it has its limitations. When a coyote suffers the indignity of being chased by the sort of prey a big cat could kill with ease, having a badger as a partner really isn't much help. What a coyote actually needs to succeed against its large opponents are others of its own kind. A family of coyotes can combine as a team to draw a mother elk away from her stillborn calf so they can all scavenge. For the evolving dogs, the advantage of using such strength in numbers to scavenge was probably the first step towards teamwork in the hunt. A giant ground sloth, nearly 2 meters high and weighing over a ton. The extinct direwolf was as large as a modern jaguar, but even a dog this formidable could not take prey like the giant ground sloth on its own. But as a pack, they could kill it. The key had been learning to live together as cooperative families, and the key to that was communication. Family groups had originally banded together to help with rearing young and defending territory, but the family also proved an ace card in dealing with large quarry. Like these modern wolves, the extinct direwolf would have formed part of an extended family which hunted together. For the first time in their history, the dogs could rival the cats as killers of large prey. And 4 million years ago, the dogs were to have a lucky break. The world's climate was becoming drier. Where trees once grew, vast plains of grassland and scrub appeared. A new sort of fleet-footed prey evolved to occupy them. But why should these events have helped the dogs rather than the cats? The big cats of 4 million years ago lost the cover they needed for ambush. These heavily armed hunters had a short burst of speed, but in a straight chase, they didn't have the stamina to keep up with these speedy prey. But the dogs had long legs and endurance. The heirlooms of their wandering past gave them speed and stamina. They could hunt the new fast prey as a running pack. The cats were left standing. A team of fast-running social hunters. The African wild dog pack became a killing unit. It looks brutal, but it's merely efficient, and evolution rewards efficiency. Pack hunting proved a very successful way of life, based on large, sometimes very large, family units. Several species of running pack hunter spread across the globe. As recently as 1,000 years ago, at the pinnacle of the dog's success, the wild dog covered the plains of Africa. The red dog ranged across much of Asia. The social dingo spanned Australasia. And the grey wolf covered the entire northern hemisphere, making it the most widespread hunter on the globe. And it was the wolf that was to take one more evolutionary step towards that unreachable goal, the perfect hunter. Not only did wolves have endurance and speed, not only did they hunt in a pack, now they went beyond a simple straight-line pursuit. They started to use strategy. In the bleak Canadian tundra, a wolf pack is after caribou. The caribou are bigger and faster than the wolves, over a distance. There's no cover for the wolves to use ambush, but they still get their prey. This is how it was done. 3 wolves have previously taken up position ahead of the herd and on the right flank. 2 other wolves start a stern chase. As the 2 wolves tire, one of the flankers takes up the pursuit. The 4th wolf attacks from the right front, splitting the herd of caribou. The confused and tiring animals are again frontally attacked by the 5th wolf, and a caribou is caught, but not killed. But its fate is sealed when the 2nd wolf arrives, and the animal is finally dispatched by the rest of the pack. Strategy has succeeded where strength and speed could not. wolf's special success lay in its ability to call on its entire evolutionary past, to live a life like its ancestors as a solitary forager of small prey, carrion and berries, or to combine as a pack to bring down the largest of prey. The dog's triumph seemed complete. But a new hunter had arrived. Man first competed with, then persecuted the wolf and its cousins in the wild. Over vast areas, the pack-hunting dogs have been all but wiped out. Where wolves once roamed, today they survive only as symbols of an ancient ferocity. The dogs that survive best today are the inconspicuous wanderers, the hunters of small prey. The red fox can live in the shadow of man as its ancestors once lived in the shadow of the cats. Of all the dogs and cats alive today, perhaps these foxes, the dogs who have remained true to their remote past, are the real winners. The top cats and dogs may have run their race as the major hunting groups, but there is another story yet to be told. For there was a third family of carnivores which could do all they could and more. A family which flourished on the scraps which fell from the rich man's table. The scavengers. Next week, we tell their story.